that. And I had went on his talk show once, and he told me pretty much that because I was a 50-year-old woman that I didn't qualify for a high value man.
It's been a few years now since Kevin Samuels has passed away, yet and still many of the things that he says are true and resonate. I am constantly seeing videos such as Kevin Samuels was right. Kevin Samuels was right about baby mamas. Kevin Samuels was right about single women. Kevin Samuels was right. Like, I'm constantly seeing him being referenced. And that's because many of the things that he said were actually true. They may have been hard to hear. They may have been unpopular to hear. And many women, particularly Black women, may have taken offense to it, but the proof is in the pudding. I came across this video of a Black woman who claims that she actually was on the Kevin Samuels show, and although she disagreed with his point of view, could not deny that the things that he mentioned have actually taken place in her life. So let's listen to what she has to say, and then we'll break it down.
Dang, I can't remember his last name, but his name was Kevin. That was that dude who was talking to all those women about high value men and things like that. And I had went on his talk show once, and he told me pretty much that because I was a 50-year-old woman that I didn't qualify for a high value man. And I don't want to believe that, because there's hundreds and thousands and millions of men in the world. I know they on Facebook dating and stuff, but I haven't met one yet. Not one that has chosen me. So does that mean I got work to do? Or was Kevin right? Nah, Kevin wasn't right. Kevin wasn't. And maybe I got a little work to do.
That was hilarious. She's like, was she right? Was he right? Nah, he wasn't right. That's funny. Okay, let me replay, because there's a few things I want to react to, and it just would make sense for me to do it in the moment.
And I can't remember his last name, but his name was Kevin. That was that dude who was talking to all those women about high value men and things like that. And I had went on his talk show once, and he told me pretty much that because I was a 50-year-old woman that I didn't qualify for a high value man.
Let me say this. Kevin Samuels got a lot of smoke from a lot of women. Women saying he was misogynist, he was disrespectful, he didn't like Black women, he must have hated his mama that was calling him gay, he was making fun of his fashion, but yet and still continue to call into his show. And the thing that we forget about his entire platform was that the starting context of the conversation was women who essentially said that a good 80 to 90% of men didn't qualify for them. These weren't just average women who were looking for average men or just a nice, comfortable, average life. No, these are women who were specifically wanting top-tier, high-earning, attractive men with social status, with connections, with resources, with retirement, IRAs, 401ks, all that. So the context of the conversation is basically women saying, hey, most men don't qualify for me. That is the starting conversation. So women are making it seem like he's just going out and just, was making fun of all these women and just saying all these disparaging things. And it's like, that's not true. This conversation wasn't about an average woman trying to find an average man and just live a nice, happy life. Maybe he works at the post office. She works at a bakery and they have a nice house with a picket fence and a dog. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that. It was women who wanted the best man, the most competitive men out there. So if a woman comes in and says, oh, I am basically better than 95% of men in the human population, if that's essentially what she's saying, then him going and just giving an accurate assessment is not misogynoir, it's not disrespectful, it's not him hating his mama. It's him being practical. And so that's what I feel like a lot of people took what he said out of context. They didn't understand where he was coming from, and they completely overlooked the context of the conversation. Context is everything. So for example, for this woman, 50-year-old Black woman, looks like she's fit, rich. I mean, is actually already, that's a lot more rare. So that would put her, I guess, if top percentage, if you want to look at dating and mating as a market. But with that said, the reality is, if we are defining high value based upon the way Kevin Samuels defined it, right? Like, again, having the connections, essentially the network to show that you're high value, having the money, having a substantial career, having longevity in your money and your career, all these different things, those men basically have options. And he's saying, like, if you were a man, let's say you're 45, you're a 50-year-old man, you are basically the pinnacle of your career. You've spent all of these years. You have women in their 50s, but also in their 40s and 30s and 20s wanting you. You spent the last 20, 30 years grinding. Now you want to start a family. Are you going to try to start a family with a 50-year-old woman? Or are you going to try to start with a woman who's maybe 25 or 30, right? Or maybe even 35, whatever. But you're going to start a life with a woman that has more chance of childbearing, that has less emotional baggage, has less relationships, because now your options only increase. And like, he's true. I mean, he's right. He was telling the truth. He is right. So that, again, is not against the value of, that's not against a woman's inherent human value. They're not saying like, oh, you're less valuable as a human being because you're this age. But it's just the reality of when you're in a dating market and you want these men, everybody is competing with these men. You know, the interesting thing about it is women understand this when it comes to the job market. Because look, we know we love to be the whole boss babes. We love to be talking about our career and independent women, all that kind of stuff. So we understand if you want to get into that education, because you know, Black women love talking about education. You want to get that education, you want to get in that college, you want to get that degree, you have to compete. You have to try to score really high on your SATs and all these things you have to go through when you're in high school, getting into college. You have to compete. You have to try to get certain grades to get that internship. Like, we understand competition when it comes to the resumes, when it comes to basically trying to work in the corporate world, trying to get money from these systems. We understand it. But not when it comes to relationship, we feel like it's supposed to just be handed to us on a silver platter, and there's no work involved in that just because you're a woman that you deserve a prince. And I'm like, that's not how the world works at all. So yeah, context matters. Let's continue.
And I don't want to believe that, because it's hundreds of thousands of millions of men in the world. I know they on Facebook dating and stuff, but
she said, I don't want to believe. Now, I'm not familiar with the conversation she had with Kevin Samuels, but she basically said, look, a high value men don't want you. And I'm curious how she defined high value. I'm curious how she defined it. If she said there has to be, if there's an income requirement, if there's a height requirement, if there is a amount of properties requirement, like all that context matters. But what he's basically saying is the majority of men your age don't want you. That's like not a knock against her as much as that is just a reality from their vantage point, because we're very quick as women to want to talk about all the things that we deserve and the things that we think that we need and we want and all that we're not settling for. But we forget that a relationship includes two people, and that both people have things that they are bringing to the table but also want from the relationship. So a relationship can't just be on your terms as a woman. Like, the man is also going to have things that he wants. And if the reality is the majority of men who are in the kind of that meet the criteria that she wants, the reality is they also have a criteria. And like, you can believe what they say, you cannot believe what they say, but that doesn't change what they say or what they want. Like, the proof is in the pudding. And I think, again, that's probably what Kevin Samuels was alluding to. Let's continue.
I haven't met one yet. Not one that has chosen me. So does that mean I got work to do?
That's another thing too. It's like a one that has chosen me. That's a crazy thing too. Women want to be chosen. Women want to be chosen, which of course, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that inherently, but again, sometimes we talk out of both sides. We want to be independent. We want to be, free thinking, liberal. We want to have parity and equality between men and women. But when it comes to dating and mating, we want to be chosen. We want him to propose. We want him to pursue us. We want to be his first choice. So we want the best of both worlds. And again, it just doesn't work like that. And we know it doesn't work like that because we see it not working for people. You know what I mean?
Or was Kevin right? Nah, Kevin wasn't right. Kevin wasn't. And maybe I got a little work to do.
He said Kevin can't be right, but what he said is happening in her life. Listen, I'm not here to convince her either way. Everybody has to be on their individual journey. Everybody is, owning their own truth. I understand a person wanting to hold on to hope that Prince Charming is out there, but also we have to ask yourself, if you're waiting for Prince Charming, are you Princess Charming? And at the same time that you are creating a criteria and a list of things that he needs to bring, you also have to remember that that is a human being, an individual with emotions and feelings and desires just like you. And it's also just as important to understand what men want. And I think the thing that Kevin Samuels did, which made him wildly popular, was that he ultimately articulated what men want and value. In a society that has spent decades telling the whole world what women want and what men need to do. And I thought that was very revolutionary. And to this day, it still is, because women are still having a hard time grasping the fact that men have desires too, and they also have criteria too. And it is possible that they might not actually meet the criteria of the men that they want. Anyway, that's what I have, guys. What do you think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.